Well, greeting fellow humans. Going somewhere different today. We're going down here, which is, I apologise in advance if the wind gets a bit nasty, but there's not a lot I can do about it. The furry thing's somewhere in the house, and sort of came in a bit of a hurry because I realised I haven't got long and I've got to be back before the wife needs to go out to pick Kane up, and so I can look after Emily. And I've got to go out for my walks anyway, doctor's orders and stuff. So we're heading down to a place that has bad memories for me. It's not the first time I've been back to this place. Nowhere near. I've been back a lot of times, but it's not a place that has happy memories. But we'll cover that in a bit. I was at the doctor's last week, and unsurprisingly, he's told me that after 40 years of pushing my body to its limits, that basically playtime's over, and I've got to, calm it down a bit. So I'm going to have to stop smoking. I'm also now not allowed any painkillers whatsoever, ever. If I do, I'm putting myself at risk. Now, unfortunately, because I have a certain health problem, that's not an option. What I can do, however, is cut them down, which should be enough, along with a very low-fat diet, because put it this way, my cholesterol is in orbit right now, because I've been avoiding having it tested for 23 years. I was 17 at the time. There's a family history, and I've avoided it, Now, it's no big deal. I suppose it is a big deal in one way, but it's not, because I won't treat it as such. I'll just do what I need to do. 40 years, I've enjoyed myself, you know what I mean? I've ate all the fatty foods, I've sort of went out and drank too much occasionally, and stuff like that. So, you don't do the crime if you can't do the time. Now, that is just part. Now, it's not school anymore, but this used to be where I went to school, went to secondary school, for 2 years. Now, down that bit behind those trees, you can't see it, is where I ended up in hospital during a metalwork class. I passed out my head hit a vice. Now, some may say this may explain my somewhat odd behaviour, so that's probably one of the nicer things that happened, ironically. But I don't know if you can see it through there. You can't, but there's a door behind there, and I ended up outside there with an ambulance and stuff, and then went to Shotley Bridge Hospital at the time, and it was the start of a long process for me. But this used to be called the English Martyrs School many years back. Now there's a number of funny stories from here, but most of them aren't very good, because back then, long before art and 3D, some of you know I was an escape artist, right? Now, the one thing you don't want to be if you're a kid is an escape artist. 2, you don't want to be an escape artist when the head teacher tells everybody else that a bunch of fucking losers and should be like this guy, i.e. me, which makes you hate figure number 1 for the rest of your school life. Bullying doesn't cover it. I was slashed open with a bloody knife. I still got scars, on my body. I was basically treated like shit for the 2 years I was here, and another 2 years at the next secondary school. Because this was you were only here for 2 years then, you were at St Bede's. But needless to say, it holds some very bad memories. Now, let's have a look at the place. It puts a load of chills down my spine. Now, if you can see those doors, well, I'll get round here. If you see those doors there, right in the middle of the frame. In there, there's probably still is a toilet, right? Now, me and a mate called Dodsy decided to sort of free some school exercise books. The only time I ever did anything wrong. The day before we left, and we were the last class in this entire school before it was closed. So what we do? We thought, I'll tell you what, I said, Doddy, look, Andrew, I said, we'll stick them above the tiles in the bogs. I said, then we'll come back tomorrow when everybody's gone, and then we'll, we're only 11, but it seemed like a good idea. And of course, both he and I were off the next day, and the school closed. So, at some point in the future, somebody will go and renovate this building, and we'll take the tiles from the ceiling in the bogs, back there. And they will find thousands and thousands of exercise books that will rain upon their head like rocks. One of the only things I've ever done around my life, but it's a humorous story, but yeah, it's, there you go, Stalag Luft. What a piece of shit that place was. Now I'm 40 now, so you're talking 20 odd. Well, in fact, I was, what, 13, 14 when I left here? You know, so that's a lot of years ago, decades ago. Main classroom was right at that, you see in the centre of the frame there, the end of the tall building. That was class 2B. I was in that one. That one, centre of frame at the bottom, was the French class, where they put on my report, there's not a hope in hell of ever teaching this boy French or any other language. Right along there at the top, on that wing, was the chemistry class, run by the bitch from hell, who insisted on having us cut up frogs. Now, I do not like hurting things, so I refused point blank and told her exactly where she could stuff her frog and her little scalpel. This did not go down well. I was already public enemy number one, you know what I mean? But I told her straight, I stood my ground and actually got it removed from the curriculum, or rather my parents did, because they made a complaint on my behalf. I got it removed from the curriculum, which might seem a bit ironic for somebody who makes a lot of gory stuff, but I don't like I won't kill something, right? That's, you know, to my mind, if you're going to kill an animal, you might as well kill a human being. I'm not going to do either, you know. But yeah, it's a place I don't normally come to very often because there's too many bad memories, you know. It'll be a wonder if you can hear me here. That big field there, see, there was a big secret about English martyrs. It was built on swampland, right in that corner. It's all swampland, right? So it's permanently sinking into the ground and they have to keep doing work to shore it up. And this big field here was where once they had the local YMCA come with some motorbikes, only 50 or 75cc jobs, where we learnt the curse of Wayne and motorbikes, right? I love motorbikes, but they don't like me. And every time I sit on a motorbike, the engine burns out in a matter of like 10 seconds. I've just got to sit in the fucking thing, right? I've tried it multiple times. I am cursed with fucking bikes, which is sad, really, because I like them, you know. But my fucking eyes are watering like a bastard with this wind. But yeah, so it's this is some funny stories, you know. I go on for years and years about that bloody place. Every day was a fucking adventure, you know what I mean? But in a way, it hardened me up. In the long term, the short term, it nearly drove me insane, you know, because it was the least creative environment in the world. Now, I should have showed you that right at the very end, that side on the bottom was the art class. I used to get on well with the teacher there, Mrs. Huntley, and later when I went to the English Martyrs at St. Bede's, her husband taught me, who later ended up dying with a very nasty gory accident. Nice bloke though, very nice bloke, good art teacher. And he wasn't prepared, he was always prepared to admit when he did not know something or wasn't good at something. And that taught me a lesson that in art, that don't bullshit, right? Because you will be found out. But if you're good at something, great, yeah, shout it from the fucking rooftops, you know. But yeah, it's sort of sad when he died. You know, he was a friend of my dad's as well. Although I never really knew him as such, you know. I was still too young, but yeah. So there you go, a little bit of background. I was actually saying to somebody on Twitter yesterday that people sometimes think that because I do all these videos, right, that they know everything about me. And to be honest, it's about 2% if that I've ever covered on videos. There's a whole lot of shit in my background that I've always said I could write a fucking book, but nobody ever believe it, you know. So yeah, it's always nice to every now and again come out the closet, as it were. Not in that way, you know, but like say things in the background. This is actually rather interesting because this little black path here, right, has a reputation for being haunted. So I don't believe a lot in that shit, but you don't want to walk down here late at night. Not because of ghosts, because this is slug fucking central, right? You cannot put a foot down anywhere without there being slugs there. And I'm not a big lover of slugs and snails, right? I don't care how pretty they are, I just do not fucking like them. But yeah, so I want to do a shorter walk a day, just around the bypass and stuff. So I'm not sure if I'll get a second video of these done. Just basically because, as you'll probably be able to see there, it's a busy road and the chances of hearing me and the wind, above the wind in the cars, are zero. Now I've also started doing, like, I'm just uploading at the moment my 200th video to Vimeo. Because Vimeo, unlike the ones here on YouTube, I keep it's not full of bloody video blogs and shit, it's just things that are decent. It's got the higher end stuff, you know what I mean? So I've put a mock-up of the first cathedral establishing interior shot from the FX PhD stuff, because now that course is finished. Woohoo! You know, well, it's finished for the guys who took it. For me, it's not, because I'm continuing with it. And finally, when I want to get all this done, there'll be about 18 shots. Now, the best thing is the model is done, right? Unlike the infamous in Gods and Men, everything is done. I don't have to rely on any fucker apart from me. Rendering out, I could do myself, but you know, I'm going to give the guys a bit of a bell, and I know they'll, you know, sort some out. Some stuff's got to be rendered out for the FX PhD classes. I think is it next term or this term or something, because a new term started. So I'll probably use some of those as well, on top of some shots of my own. And it should make a good piece, because basically that's a game model on steroids, right? Very, very much on steroids. There's 12 million polys there. It's not a game polygon count, but there's no displacement anywhere in it. It's all normal maps. Each map set is 37 4K maps, and there are 3 different sets that rotate around depending on the part. So you don't have about 100 4K maps. That's a lot of fucking information. As a result, I also did a review of how the Nitrous viewport in Max 2012 cope with it in my blog. So if you should know the site by now. // all one word .net, and if you go there, there's a blog and there's a few other reviews like RenderMan Pro Server, Maya 2012, you know. And I'm trying to be as honest as I can about things, because I don't want anybody to just accuse me of towing the party line with all of this. I'll tell the truth even when it fucking hurts. In fact, I've got a bit of a background in doing stuff like that, and it doesn't always go down well. But yeah, so that's basically what I'm doing at the moment. You know, it's not all of other interesting stuff. Now, I want to put the time into this cathedral because it's an ambitious model for anybody. It's not something that you do as a doodle. You know what I mean? Plus, it also meant that it demonstrated that not only can I do mud box, but I can do good environment modelling at a poly level. Of course, I can still use bloody ZBrush, blah blah blah. I can still use Maya and RenderMan, and just it's good as a demo piece. And then I'll start pimping it out there so that people can see it on the reel. The next one. I suppose I should really have some character stuff on the reel as well, so I might have to come up with some stuff for that. See what happens. Right, I'm going to get going because we're getting very near the road and it is getting very windy. If I can do a part 2 I will, but I severely doubt it, because once I get along here, we're going to be invaded by people. See ya.